Today, we're diving into a brand new app that says it's going to completely change how we learn languages. It's an AI-powered tutor called Chickytutor, and yeah, it's making some pretty big promises. Right on its homepage, it hits you with this line, "It's like Duolingo, but for language learning." Now that's a bold statement, right? It kind of makes you stop and think. What they're really saying is that while other apps are games, this one is about something deeper, actual conversational learning.
Which of course leads to the big question. So what does that actually mean? In practice, how is it really different? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
Okay, that is a huge claim to make. So before we even get into how it works, let's see if people are actually buying into it. Let's start with the numbers. First thing you see is that there have been over 10,000 conversations on the platform already. So right away, you know this isn't just some concept app. People are in there right now, actively using it to practice their skills. And it's not just that people are using it, they seem to really like it. With over 400 reviews, it's holding a solid 4.5 out of 5-star rating. I mean, that's some serious social proof that the first wave of users are finding it really works for them.
All right, so we know people are into it. But what does a lesson actually look like? Let's get into the core teaching method.
So the lessons start out pretty simple, introducing a core concept. In this example, it's explaining what an infinitive verb is. The basic form, like to eat in English or comer in Portuguese. Nice and easy. But check this out. The second you learn that concept, bam, they hit you with a challenge. The app asks you to actually apply what you just learned. It's all about learning by doing, not just by reading a definition. And look at this. When you get it right, it's not just a boring checkmark. You get this enthusiastic, spot-on, you nailed it. That little bit of personality, it makes a huge difference in keeping you motivated. Getting things right is great for sure, but we all know the real learning happens when we mess up. And this is where Chickytutor claims its AI really shines. So the app kicks it up a notch with a new challenge. I am very tired. Now, this might seem simple, but it's actually a classic trap for anyone learning Romance languages. It's designed to see if you know a very tricky rule. And here it is. The magic moment. The user makes that super common mistake, using "su." But instead of a big red wrong, look how gentle the AI is. It says "so close," which is really encouraging, and then it just gives you the right word, "estoy." But the why is the most important part. The AI is teaching an incredibly deep and nuanced rule here. It's the difference between the two ways to say "to be." "So" is for permanent things, like "I am a person." But "esto" is for temporary states, like "I am tired right now." And that is the kind of detail that takes you from just translating words to actually speaking fluently. So let's zoom out for a second. What does all of this really add up to? Is this thing just a fancy set of flashcards, or is it something more, like maybe your next actual conversation partner? So if you boil it all down, Chickytutor's whole approach is built around actually talking, not just memorizing lists. The AI gives you feedback that's super specific, but also really encouraging. And it's always pushing you beyond simple one-to-one translation to really get those subtle rules of the language. Kind of like a real human tutor would. And all of this leaves us with one big question to think about. In a world where you can have a patient, knowledgeable, and always available practice partner right there in your pocket, is this kind of conversational AI the future of how we all get fluent? It's a pretty exciting thought.